Lately I've been feeling things change. We've been working hard, no sleep, get it every day. And I swear that we ain't stopping till we pay. Yeah, the pressure on, gotta make it work. Triple play, yeah. Triple play, making a triple
play. This is Triple Play Fantasy Basketball, giving you a preview of Week 13. I'm your host, Coach James Lewis. On the other end, Eric, Doc, Mendelson. What up, Doc?
Ooh, James, why are you in a good mood? I don't know. Just tell me.
NFC Championship, baby. Commanders fan, it's been hard. Oh, it's been grueling as a fan. Kind of like your favorite team. Like football just has a certain way of just taking over your emotions. And I'm in an emotional bliss right now. I got a new ownership, new management, and a new franchise quarterback that even as a rookie, I have full faith that, we can get this thing done. We're playing with house money here. Kick the Lions' ass. I'm happy. We're here to talk about basketball, but hey, as a sports fan, if you're here, you're probably a fan of other sports as well.
James, I got a question to ask. You can only be a fan of one, the Commanders or LeBron.
That's not fair. So
you're picking LeBron?
So my brain answer, or my heart answer is LeBron all day, but my brain answer is Commanders just because, how many years left do you have with like the LeBron thing? 2, 3, 4.
So if one could win a championship in 2025, who are you picking?
Commanders.
Okay, good answer, James. Good answer.
Okay, yeah. I paused a little bit though. Oh God, 5 championships would be so beautiful. Games watched this week, Monday, MLK Day, which is a basketball day. That don't take our day. LeBron James said that on Christmas, and the Warriors and Lakers delivered that on a magnificent game, maybe the game of the year. So Monday, MLK Day, they'll have games going on all day. Tuesday, 5 games. Wednesday, Thursday, 9. Friday, 3. Saturday, 14. That's every team in the NBA except for 2. And then Sunday, 1. So I put a little star next to Tuesday, Friday, Sunday. We're going to introduce what's called a super streamer, which is the Portland Trailblazers play on those days, especially on a Sunday. So if you're looking for the waiver wire and maybe a team or a player, maybe it's Time Lord, maybe it's Kamara, which is Doc's guy, maybe it's Scoot Henderson. Denny Advia is out with a pretty severe ankle injury. I don't know if he's going to come back, but the Blazers could be a team that you're looking at to stream. What say you, Doc?
The Blazers are interesting, and a bunch of the bottom feeders of the NBA as they started to have. And granted, Denny Advia is actually injury related, but like for the Jazz, and we'll talk about some players for the Jazz, they're starting to give people rest days. So just keep this in mind. Obviously, from a streaming schedule, Blazers work, but the lineups as we get later in the season are going to be a little bit more unpredictable.
All right. So who do you like this week? I think Kel'el Ware has got to be at the top of the list because he could really be a make or break player if he really gets the opportunity based on his rebound, his block production, his high field goal percentage. And when he plays, he screams talent. In the summer league, he was just busting everybody. Centers are a little bit harder to come by. Kel'el Ware, in his background, they've questioned kind of his motor or whatever. You go to Miami, I think you tap into a different animal, and I think that we've seen that a little bit with 19-13, hit 3 threes, 1-1, 1 steal, 1 block against the Clippers. It's a lot to like about Kel'el Ware.
I mean, he is, even though he's 20 years old, and this is going to be one of those, wow, I can't believe I'm 10 years older and this guy could kill me in 10 seconds if he wanted. 7 foot, 230. So he's built like a pro already. We saw the 19 points, 13 rebounds. That's in 33 minutes. He had an 8-point, 11 rebound game in 17 minutes against the Lakers the next night. one of the things that we've seen with Miami over the years, whether it's been Orlando Robinson, Omer Yurtseven, and granted those are short stints, but Miami has a way of making centers who had low draft capital, and I know he was the 15th overall pick, but that's a non-lottery pick, be fantasy relevant.
Well, especially in like the weakest draft, like that I've ever seen in my life. I'm sure there's other drafts that are comparable. This year, you definitely would, take a chance on a 7-footer that plays above the rim that gives you Derek Lively vibes. In Kel'el Ware, I mean, they both played Team USA. Hey, he was right there with Lively. You could say he was playing better. Team USA college didn't go well in either of his trips.
I would be interested to see if Miami ever, like, let's say they get rid of Jimmy Butler and they just kind of clear cap space and get some young draft picks. If they go Bam at the 4 and Ware at the 5.
Well, if Ware can hit 3, if him or Bam can develop the 3-pointer, obviously as being a rookie, Ware shows the mechanics. Like, dude, that's
what I'm saying. I wouldn't completely rule it out of the question because none are the traditional centers. Ware's shooting 43% from 3 this season, so I'd just be interested to see.
I'm with you. It's exciting. I mean, they're still gonna. I don't see them tanking for the young player. Tyler Hero's still there. It's Miami, but if they can somehow get a hold of these guys. Games watch week. 10 teams with 4. It's Atlanta, Boston, Charlotte, Cleveland, Dallas, Golden State, Clippers, Memphis, New Orleans, and Portland. Those are teams to watch this week as far as pickups. They get a little extra games, and then teams that you probably want to shy away from or cut ties with. A Keldon Johnson. I know Harrison Barnes is playing pretty good, but you can deal without him. They'll be on the waiver come a couple weeks. 2 teams with 2. That is the Pacers in San Antonio. So, choose wisely. I'm not going to mention the 18 that have 3, but that's basically, the majority of the league. A rookie, and when we're talking about this awful rookie class, Isaiah Collier had dropped in the draft big time after he was the number 1 point guard in high school basketball. He's showing you why people were saying he's that true point guard. He's getting dimes galore. Last week, 14, 6 boards, 9 assists. This is only 10% roster. You got to go and run the gamble right now.
I mean, as we had talked about, Utah starting to rest players. Did it with Walker?
Well, Keontae George, I must mention Keontae George came back and he's still getting these minutes. He had a team high with Keontae George back in the lineup. So, they can play together. Keontae is traditionally a 2.
Yeah. And Jordan Clarkson has missed the last 7 games and an MRI confirmed torn plantar fasciitis in his foot.
Damn.
So there is no timeline. So, you look at the backcourt and Jordan Clarkson has been taking minutes, 25.5 per game this season, played 30.6 last year, 32.6 the year before. So Collier has an everyday role. And one of the things that's really tough to stream in fantasy, as we've talked about in previous shows, is assists over the last 6 games, 11, 10, 7, 8, 9, 9. So, even if you were to just use it for that alone, I think there's fantasy relevance there.
Absolutely. And it shows that he has creativity. That you don't just sneak up and get assists for no reason. Like, you have ability to see the court. There is some strength in him and in his play and his IQ when you see these things. On the point guard tip, we're gonna go with some maybe more reliable pieces. Cason Wallace. Defensive stalwart, man. He is in your face. I love the way that he can move around defensively, but he drops some dimes too. He's getting swipes. Categories league, you like both of the players that we were mentioning, as well as Anthony Black. I'm gonna kind of just put them together just because Anthony Black, you can find him in deeper leagues. He's only 5% roster, which probably should be more. And he can get you some defensive stats, but he's going to get you rebounds, assists. He's not going to hit any threes. So what say you if you have a pick 'em?
I am going to go Wallace who's played 30-plus
Same.
minutes in 8 out of the last 10 games, played all 82 games last season, and the minutes have jumped from 20.6 to 27.6. SGA sat out the other day. Maybe we see a little bit more of rest days for him, maybe, once a week, once every other week. But Wallace, I think, has solidified himself as a future star of the team. From a steals perspective, 1.8 per game over the last week or for the season. He's starting to shoot the three better. He has 2 threes in 3 out of the last 4 games. The only reason I would go Anthony Black is because Jalen Suggs has a mid-back strain, and there is no timetable for his return. So I think his role is going to be a little bit more consistent. He has 4 straight games.
A lot of minutes right now.
Yeah, 4 straight games of double-digit points. The assists fluctuate, and the rebounds fluctuate. And he's not shooting a good percentage from 3, 24% for the season. But I think Cason Wallace, he's playing on a winning team too. Like, the Magic's philosophy is defense. And while OKC has a defense philosophy as well, they can also put up a lot of points.
Yeah, and you see that their numbers are pretty similar here. I would go with Cason, but like 25% roster compared to 5. Like, Anthony Black is not the worst choice, even though he does put up some duds. Nick Smith Jr. got his first career start this week. It's worth mentioning because his former AAU teammate, Brandon Miller, is out for the foreseeable future.
For the rest of the season.
Probably. If you're a Brandon Miller owner, you're disappointed because he's having a really dominant second year, averaging over 20, basically 25 and 5 in your second year. That's promising going for the future. LaMelo Ball, we already know he's cooking. Did you see the stat on LaMelo with his 1-footed 3-pointers? He's got like over 50. The next closest person's got like 9 or something like that.
I haven't, but I saw LaMelo Ball has the most shots per minute in NBA history. He overtook Wilt. It was like 2 weeks ago or something.
That's pretty cool. As a LaMelo owner, he shoots like 12 threes a game. He's leading the league in 3-pointers made per game. I think it's like 4.5.
The one thing I want to say about Nick Smith Jr.
Go ahead.
LaMelo Ball, not the epitome of health. Charlotte not going to make the playoffs this year. And they have already started to trade / tank in whatever capacity possible, trading Nick Richards for just a bunch of second-round picks and Josh Okogie. Wouldn't be surprised if they traded Micic as well. And they've already they've already tempered his minutes. He's played below 20 minutes in the last 5 games after averaging 28 over the previous 3.
And shout out all the Mark Williams owners, because beginning of season, you're like, is he ever going to play? He's absolutely killing it. 19 and 19 last game. 31 and 13. 24, 16, and 4 dimes.
You know what? That back injury really must have been weighing him down.
Oh, my God. Yeah, if you had Mark Williams in the last league, you saw your team win a lot of categories. Justin Edwards. Justin Edwards, the undrafted free agent that Philly picked up this year in a draft that he probably should have been drafted, playing for Kentucky. He didn't have the greatest season, and he couldn't hit anything as far as from behind the 3-point line. In OKC, hit 4 3-pointers. In New York, hit 2, and he plays defense. So maybe he's finding a spot here in Philly. This is kind of that risk-reward type of thing, but he definitely deserves a mention this week, right?
I mean, Philly's just getting decimated by injuries. Embiid out 7 to 10 days and will be reevaluated. You wonder if they shut him down at some point. Andre Drummond hasn't been staying healthy. Gershon Yabusele has been hurt himself. And, the 76ers have a bunch of money committed to the big 3 for the next 4 to 5 years. And they're the 11th seed right now in the East. At what point do they start resting players and potentially tanking? They have a top 7 protected pick. So, it would make sense for them to try to get a 1 through 6 pick this year. And if that's the case, Justin Edwards could have a more consistent role Already had back-to-back games with 35 minutes this week. So 3% rostered.
I can't see it. I think that they're going to try to play it out and at least try to get into the plan and see what happens from there. They're only like a couple games out of that.
What percentage of games do you see Paul George playing the rest of the season? Not a number, but a percentage of, let's just say they have 41 games left. So
I can't put a number on it, but with them and their situation with Joel and his health, like they're just gonna have to go all in and see if they hit some type of magic. No pun intended. Down the road,
65% of games is what Paul George is going to play the rest of the year, barring an injury.
You heard that from the Vegas man, so take that to Vegas if you can. If I don't know if that's a prop bet or
nah.
Brice Sensabaugh for Utah, who's been trying out some young players, and we saw Isaiah Collier being mentioned earlier. 17 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 threes. We like a shooter when they're hot, and he's getting a little bit of burn here for Utah, who's clearly in the tank days.
Yeah, I mean, points, threes. I want to see if the percentage keeps up, 44%, 48% for the season. The volume has been high, but he's not giving you much else. Nothing in the steals or blocks category over the last week.
Yeah, I think this might fall off.
He's averaging 0.6 stocks for the season. That's atrocious.
Stocks, if you don't know that, steals and blocks combined. Lu Dort is going to give you a little bit of that. He typically gives you some steals. He locks down people, though. Sometimes he doesn't get those defensive stats, but Donovan Mitchell probably has nightmares of this guy. He puts you in the torture chamber. In the last 2 weeks, 12, 4, 2. He's the guy that you don't feel bad about dropping. He's always somehow there in the waivers. He's not a season hold by any means, but he's always going to get you a lot of minutes in. The last 2 games, he has 12 3-pointers made. 18, 5, and 3 against Dallas, against Cleveland, 22 and 6 3-pointers made, as I mentioned. Lu Dort is that streamer that's been streaming for years now.
This is an example of a guy that's a better real life player than fantasy player. And one of the things I look at is the scoring trend over the last 4 years. Went from averaging 17.2 to 13.7 to 10.9 to 10.2 points per game this season. I think as OKC has started to develop into a contender, and as they've started to add pieces, he's taken on less of an offensive role. And like you said, it's probably just challenging the best guard on the other team. 40 points over the last 2 games is great, but just keep in mind he's averaging 10 for the season.
When you're 6'4", but you have a 6'9" wingspan, you could cover a little bit more on the defensive end. I know we're a fantasy pod, but we definitely like to celebrate our defensive players. Kyshawn George, rookie for the Wizards, hits most of his shots from 3-point range. He's somebody that you could stream for 3-pointers, and then when you look at a rookie, you look at their upside. I'm not the biggest fan for fantasy just because I just don't see the consistency. I'd rather go with a Lu Dort or I try my hand and Justin Edwards, somebody else. But he is definitely worth a mention as he dropped 24 against Phoenix.
For me, he's a watch if the Wizards decide to get rid of Kyle Kuzma, who has been averaging 27 minutes per game this season. I think it's pretty clear the Wizards are looking to trade Kuzma, Valanciunas, and Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon has missed 7 games with a toe injury, so not saying his minutes have been impacted by that. But if the Wizards start to try and tank and get rid of some guys, I think you'll see a more consistent role for Kyshawn George, who's played 30-plus minutes over the last 2 games. And I could see that consistently for the rest of the season. The stats, we'll see, but the opportunity hopefully there.
For nostalgic purposes, Malcolm Brogdon probably won't be talked about in the future. But if he would have been healthy, I think we can kind of see the writing on the wall with him. He was going to be a really good player in the NBA. I feel really bad for him because he just can't get out of it, and he's just holding on maybe to a couple contracts. But in Milwaukee, like when he was healthy, like he was a damn good basketball player.
Is it
Real
fair to
basketball.
say that he is the Robert Williams of guards?
I don't think so. I just think, yeah, that's a weird comparison,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
guys that have great production, second round picks that
okay,
just can't stay healthy.
yeah, yeah.
I-
We wish Time Lord
Are you
the
gonna
best.
say yes? Are you gonna give me a little bit of that validation or no?
I get you. I get your point. I ain't crapping on that that standpoint. Vit Krejci. I like Vit Krejci. Atlanta. He's a good little connector piece. He plays well with the Trey Young. Finding a taller guy that does it all. Like this, Atlanta is so boomer bust. But anyways,
What you talking about? They're the division leader in the Southeast.
yeah, but they just go on these stretches where they can't get wins, and then they beat the best teams. They take down Cleveland and heroics Trey Young from 60 feet. So I don't know. Like I just don't know what to make of them. They did it in the playoffs a couple years ago. They pulled off the upset. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they pulled a dud. Atlanta's is all over the place. But Trey Young is a consistent. You got in fantasy basketball. I think that Trey Young's a little bit undervalued. If he goes 8, like you don't feel bad about it as a owner in a snake league. Like he's worth that because he's gonna be in the top 5 in assists. It's gonna get you threes and get you buckets, and
He's gonna get you free throws.
huh? Oh
He's
yeah,
gonna get you free throws.
and he's typically healthy. Like he doesn't miss a crazy amount of games. So finding people around him is key. And we've seen the benefits of some of these players. And this guy, 11, 3, and 5 in the last week, like sneaking in some blocks. Definitely get some mention this week. I know he's at the end of this pod, but he's not an end of this pod type of player.
Oh, I like what you did there, James.
Mm.
Kind of like a backhanded compliment.
It certainly was. He doesn't look like Uber, but he is.
Looks like you just got electrocuted.
Clearly. Jalen Wilson, the Nets are the team of fantasy of streaming right now. He's somebody to watch. 12-4. What's your take on Jalen Wilson?
I mean, 2% rostered, so someone definitely
this
for
is a deep league guy.
Yeah, definitely for deeper leagues. I feel like we're talking about a different Nets person each week. It's Noah Clowney, it's Keon Johnson, and Zaire Williams.
Poor Dennis Schroeder was the pickup of the year at the beginning of the year until he got traded.
Yeah, I mean, what I've seen for him is probably a points league guy, averaging 12 over the last week, 3 straight games of double digits. But, the minutes have kind of been fluctuating. He's averaging 27 minutes for the season, so it's not bad. But he's not really giving you much in other categories. For somebody that's 6'6", I'd like to see him average more than 3.3 rebounds for the season. But I think this is the type of guy that you look at first if the Nets have a very favorable week for streaming.
And then there is Tari, who finally came back on the interview report Houston is just not really quite honest on him because he's out today. Like instead of saying he's out for 4 weeks or I don't know how long it was, but when he plays, there are few people that can get the steals that he gets, and he will produce a rebound. He gets you some buckets. That's what he's going to give you. But if he's healthy, he's somebody of mention. And then can you think about a more athletic, like 3 people on the court besides Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, and Jalen Green? I mean, they are exciting going forward. And, they are some other pretty damn good young players. Reece Shepard went down to the G League and dropped, what did he drop? 48 in his first game in the G League?
I think so, yeah.
8 threes.
When you look at the stats from the past 2 games with Tari Eason, that's in 23 and 24 minutes. So, hopefully and the Rockets never disclosed what was wrong with his leg. You hope it's not the tumor, I believe what it was last year. But imagine if he starts getting 30 plus. I don't think we'll ever see him get a 35-minute per game consistency, but imagine if he, starts flirting around with 30, he's going to average 2 steals a game minimum.
And that's all we got for you this week. Stay tuned. Obviously, you're in the thick of things of the NFL playoffs, and that kind of takes precedence. But MLK Day, that's the NBA day. So stay locked in, or don't give up just yet. You could still make it if you're in that 6th position. You're down 5 games. Like anything can happen.
Preach.
Speaking of, like, treat people with respect, and like everyone deserves it. We're all different. We all come from different backgrounds and makeups. But respect goes a long way, and we all need that in life. And Martin Luther King Jr. definitely spoke on these things. And he's a legend for a reason. So celebrate. Think about some of the things that he was bringing to the table through your week, and see if you can highlight some people that maybe not get a look.
God, James, that was beautiful.
That was unintentional, but it came here. So
You make me shed a tear.
Doc, I'm Coach. I'll be texting you this week.
Yeah, James didn't. Wait. For those that are keeping track, James didn't text me at all last week.
Nah, neither did you, buddy. But
whoa. I sent you something about Jonte Porter.
And I responded. I hope Michael's not caught up with it too.
Yeah. But I'm saying I started the text chain, and then
okay.
James ended.
All right, folks. Till next time, we will see you. For E, I'm Coach Lou. Peace.